Hey Charles.
Hey Laurent, what's going on?
I'm going good. What about you?
It's been a long weekend, man. It's been a long weekend.
We are now at NeoKizomba Festival, the festival that you own and that you organize. But before, can you please introduce yourself a little bit to my YouTube channel?
My name is Charles. People call me Mr. NeoKiz. I'm an instructor / artist / organizer / DJ.
A lot of things.
Basically a lover of Kizomba, just trying to do anything possible within my means to help grow the community, you know, here in North America. And I think this festival is kind of a testament of that, especially this year.
You are you are one of the main actors of it. Can you, about NeoKizomba Festival, about you as an artist, can you talk a little bit of the urban style, the urban scene in Kizomba into North America actually?
So I would say definitely I feel like the traditional scene is definitely bigger now. We have more traditional Kizomba festivals in the US and not a lot of urban Kizomba festivals. I've been teaching Kizomba full-time in the US for about 3 years now, and I've been teaching the more urban style. If you've been to my workshops before, you'll see that Albeit was my first private lesson, so that's the music that really makes me happy, you know. So that's where I kind of focused my energy, especially if I'm going to do something for a living. I'm going to do something for a living that makes me happy, right? So urban kids in the US, I feel like 2017 was definitely the year that we kind of got an official stamp of like, hey, this is something that's solid, this is something that's not going anywhere, it's not a fad or anything like that, it's technique, it's valid, it's not like some weird mutation or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it is in Europe, you know, but I just feel like in the US we're a little bit behind the 8 ball, but thanks to like some of the work that I've been doing, a lot of other artists have been doing, like Urban Kids is now like a thing, like an official legit thing in the US now.
Definitely.
And the weekend that we just had this weekend was a really huge stamp of approval, I feel, for urban kids in North America.
You have been talking about Europe, and most of the time we used to say that Europe is actually like the Kizomba level about urban kids, of course, is better than into the US. I've been coming to your festival from 3 years now, it's the 3rd year now, and I can tell you that the level is growing. What's your opinion about it, about now, 2017?
So there's more and more Kizomba events happening, yeah? 3 years ago, like Kizomba, people were like, you do Zumba? You know? And now you say that you do Kizomba, like to a dancer, they say, oh yeah, I know so-and-so. Like it's like the recognition is there, you know? So there's more Kizomba events happening. And Kizomba events means social dancing. So people are able to social dance more, which means they're able to practice and get the repetition and become better. 3 years ago it was tougher because even if you took a class or workshop, you couldn't go back home and really train in a social setting. And I think that's the main differentiator of what the Europeans have, because they have access to so many awesome DJs, so many awesome festivals. They can go to a festival every weekend if they wanted to, you know? And
several festivals per weekend actually.
For sure, you know? And have hours and hours of dancing to fire music, you know?
Sure.
That sets the difference so people can get into their style, you know? Those opportunities are still rare. In the US, it's rare for a city to have a weekly Kizomba social, where in some cities in Europe you can have a Kizomba social several nights a week.
Oh,
you know?
Of course, definitely. So question, do you think that US need more social, need more need more plan to go out to train, to dance more often? Do you need do you think that it's what's missing into the US?
I think the two main things that are missing for Kizomba and urban kids are just instructors and DJs. Yeah?
Okay.
Because you can have a party, if the DJ is not good, or if you don't have a DJ, then the party's not going to have the same inviting feeling. It's not going to get you energized. It's not going to be like this different experience that you want to experience again, you know?
All right.
If we have socials and you have a good DJ and they go there and they have like, all this music is awesome, I have to know how to dance like this, then they have to go to the class, and the instructor has to be good. So that way they teach them and then they can go back to the party, and you have socials, class, and so they like keep going back to kind of become better. But that circle of the students and then going to the socials is like, it takes a long time in the US, you know, for them to take a class and then go to a good social, you know. So like even when I go out to teach in different cities and things like that, it's multiple cities coming together in one city for the weekend to make that weekend really, really good. But it's not one city by itself, you know.
All right.
And then even for the festivals here, we had people all over North America for the festival here, but the experience here was like as close to a European experience it could have,
Definitely.
especially on the urban side, like not even close.
What have you been first, organizer or teacher?
First teacher.
First teacher. How long now?
I started teaching, so I learned Kizomba in June of 2012, and I started teaching in December of 2012. But I didn't learn Kizomba to start teaching it, you know?
Yeah.
I was already dancing salsa and bachata for several years, but I didn't feel the need to teach salsa or bachata because they already had awesome teachers already. They already had awesome festivals already, so like, what am I going to do there, you know? But when I learned Kizomba, there was a lack. And since I really liked Kizomba, I got the opportunity to go and teach at a studio, and it wasn't me going to the studio to wanting to teach. It was like, hey, them inviting me, you know. And looking back at it now, in retrospect, I have a knack for like just teaching and breaking things down. And so now that I got a chance to put experience behind it, that just blew up, you know. So I still feel like the instruction is really like my forte, something that really makes me happy. I love seeing the students with their light bulb moments and things like that.
Nice.
And it's just really an awesome thing to inspire somebody in a good way. And I think the awesome thing about dance is like dance isn't your job, you know? Dance is more about who you are. Yes, sometimes your job can be something that you really, really love, and sometimes it's not, you know. Like if you're an accountant, yeah, that can pay the bills, but it's not who you are. So I like taking these workshops and inspiring these people to get them to become more aware of themselves, you know. It's really a cool thing.
US miss more teacher and DJ to create social and to build the community. So you as a teacher, you have been teaching now for long. What would be your advice for someone maybe willing to start to teach?
Start teaching. So it's a really awesome question that you asked me, because so many people tell me and they're afraid to start because they're afraid to be judged, and it's like, well, who are you to think that you're not? It's really, really crazy because like they feel ashamed of starting to teach because they feel like they don't have enough, but they're never going to get to that point until they start teaching, you know?
Yeah.
People, as you become a teacher, people are going to like your way of teaching. One teacher isn't going to be the best teacher for everybody, you know? So as you develop your own personal teaching style, that's going to resonate with certain people. You don't have to try to please everybody. I think sometimes people try to like, well, if everybody isn't going to love me, then I'm not going to do it. But it's not the case.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to start teaching, like we need more Kizomba. Like you can try it. See, I mean, it's not illegal. You're not going to go to jail for teaching a Kizomba class. And I think for your students to be honest and to give them your best, you know. So that means teaching the class and then continuing learning. I've told some of the people like you have to be a better student than your students, you know. So if you go to teach, but then your students are going to festivals, your students are taking privates, but you don't take anything, and I know several people like this.
Sure. Like I'm teacher, I don't need to go to the class anymore.
It's not that case. It's not the case at all, you know. So you have to continue to learn and then continue to teach, which is exactly what I've been doing from the beginning, because when I started with 4 months, I didn't know anything, you know, and I'm still learning now. Yeah. And I feel like the more I know, like the more I realize, the less I know. So it's really, really
always
crazy.
Like this. So even though you are teacher in the US, you are still going to learn more and more and more. And I find it really wise. Do you have some words about it?
So every time I go to Europe, my dancing gets better, hands down. Like there's no secret about it or anything like that. Just because you get to dance and have that repetition, which goes back to what we talked about before, like the lack of social dancing, the lack of the DJs. If you go to Europe, you get to have that experience for sure, and it just helps level up your dancing. Also, since you're in the room and there's other dancers that are there that are better than you, so now it's like, okay, I have to go and I have to be like my best, so that way the followers will want to dance with me, you know. having better follows to dance with, you know, and that helps you to do the more advanced things that you can do sometimes with a better follower. So she challenges you in a good way, so you push the level of your dancing, you know. So I just feel like the ambiance as well helps level up the dancing skills. So that's why I go to Europe as often as I do. I've been twice already this year, and I'm going to try to go again, but it really helps, you know.
How is it going so far into the US in festivals about being a Urbankiz teacher?
I think definitely in 2017 there's a demand for urban now, because now people are like, okay, now there's like the distinction is like really clear between like Tarasho to like Simba. Like it's a really a far spectrum, if you will, of the different styles that you have under the Kizomba umbrella. So as an Urbankiz teacher, like now every salsa festival has like some kind of Kizomba component for the most part, you know, whereas before it wasn't the case. And the same thing happened in Europe a few years ago, you know, like the salsa festival started adding Kizomba, and then that allowed more and more Kizomba only events happening. More Kizomba only events are happening, but the NeoKiz Festival is the one that's right now at this point in North America, the one that's really focused on the urban side of Kizomba and at a really top level, because of, I mean, the lineup that we had this year was crazy.
Take a look at the camera now and say some wise word to those who listen at this.
Wise words. So one quote that has definitely been happening a lot this year is that dance is what happens in between the steps. And especially on Sunday night now of the NeoKizomba Festival, to see so many people, like I had my family, my actual real family, my mom was here and a couple of my brothers and sisters here came here. So it's really like a family, you know. And I've always had a dance family, but my real family never actually came together. So that was really awesome to have. And going back to the quote, the dance is what happens in between the steps. So you see people become better people. You see people become more confident. You see people become more empathetic to other people, you know, just because they're building their awareness with themselves, but just also awareness of other people. And I think that's a really awesome thing, because dance is definitely a path to improving your self-awareness, and I feel like it's really important to love yourself, you know. And I know that's something that sounds corny, it's like, oh, you need to love yourself, but it's really like a serious thing, like it's real a legit thing, because there's so many negative things that we have going on in the world and things like that. So if you don't have a strong internal guiding light, if you will, inside, then it's tough sometimes. But dance can definitely be one of those things that is therapeutic and help you become a better person, and you can love yourself. And then when you can love yourself, it's like a candle, and then you can go and light another candle in somebody else, and that doesn't diminish your light, you know. It's tough sometimes, it's not all rainbows and unicorns, but I feel like it's a worthy ideal for something to strive for sure. So those would be my wise words.
So what's your Facebook? Can you tell us a little bit more if we want to follow you?
Yes, so Charles Ogar is me on Facebook, but my friends list is full. You can like my page, which is NeoKizomba Productions. And if you want to visit my website, is neokizomba.com.
All right. So if you are in the US or close to the US and you don't know Charles, or even if you know him, you can follow him on Facebook, on YouTube, on his website. And Charles, for sure, it's not the last one. We're gonna have been talking about a lot of things in the future. Definitely. Thank you to have been here for responding to my invitation.
Definitely. Thank you.
See you soon, bro.